Hey everyone, it's Tim from Linessa Farms, Specialty and Heirloom Livestock. Thanks for joining us again today. When was the last time you were in a big box store like Tractor Supply or Rural King or your local farm store and saw a bottle of penicillin? Well, chances are if you've been looking recently, you didn't see any at all. And I got some bad news for you. You're probably never going to see it again. Stay tuned to find out why. So for those of you that are new to sheep, goats, or animals at all, any kind of livestock, you may not know this, but back in 2017, the FDA came out with this GFI 213. And what GFI stands for, I know you might think it's that ground fault interrupt that keeps you from shocking yourself when you're around water in your home, but that's not it. This is a guidance for industry 213. And what guidance for industry 213 did, what came about from this, was what we know now as the VFD, the Veterinary Feed Directive. And the goal of this, at least as far as we were told, was to essentially keep antibiotics out of the food system and to prevent abusing that antibiotic use. So back before 2017, a lot of producers in the sheep, goat, so on industries used drugs like Aromycin. Aromycin is one that comes to mind that most of you probably know about. So what happened was there was a shift. You used to be able to buy it over the counter. You used to be able to just go into your feed store, your local feed mill, and get it. Now you actually have to go to the veterinarian. That's what this VFD did. It took the power out of your hands, gave it to the veterinarian. So now you have to go to your vet, pay for a script. Your vet has to forward that script to whomever you're buying this from, and they have to take a whole lot of steps as well. I own a feed company, and my feed company has to register with the FDA. Anytime an individual buys Aromycin from me, I have to document it. I have to hold on to that prescription from the veterinarian so they can verify the feed that I have, the feed that I've sold, and take that all into consideration with the documentation that I have. Their companies, they do not have the infrastructure in place. They do not have the things in place with their computers to track all of this, and so they just wash their hands of it and they said, we are done. We've all kind of digested that over the years, but when things like this happen, you always have those doom and gloom people. You have the real positive people that are like, it's not a big deal, it doesn't bother me. Then you have the doom and gloom people that are like, watch it, this is just the beginning. The next thing you know, they're gonna be coming after something else. And lo and behold, here we are, and this is what this video is all about. So hold on to your pants. Welcome to present day. And where are we at today? Well, to understand where we're at today, we have to go back about almost a year ago. So very quietly, on June 11th of 2021, the FDA passed a new GFI 623, and what GFI 623 says is that they are cleaning up the industry of all other antibiotics that are out there on the market. So this includes all injectables, all oral antibiotics, all of it. It is gone. And what they did was when they came out with this in the middle of COVID, it was very poorly put out there. There was not a lot of information put out there. This wasn't on the news. Said, hey guys, from this point forward, for after June 11th of 2023, you will no longer be able to purchase penicillin, LA200, Thailand, suppositories, even the tomorrow and morning medications that some of the cattle producers use for mastitis. All of that is gone. Think of a medication that you use. Does it have antibiotics in it? Yes, done. You will now have to have, again, a prescription from a veterinarian in order to make this happen. Again, what are we gonna run into? Well, they've already said, the big box stores have already said, hey, we're washing our hands of this. So the annoying part is that the FDA kind of said this tongue in cheek, and they said, oh, well, it's still gonna be available over the counter. Well, working in healthcare as I can tell you that when I hear people say over the counter, that means you can go in the store and buy it without a prescription. If we write you a prescription for something, then that's completely different. That is when things are prescribed. That's the definition of prescription. So make no qualms about this. This is turning all of the antibiotics into a prescription. So then people, kind of quietly raise their hand and they say, whoa, 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 whoa. You guys said that all of this was about keeping antibiotics out of the food system. So what gives? And the FDA said, well, we kind of changed our mind. This is about us controlling all of the antibiotics. So now you have the big box stores, which have done the same thing that they did before with the VFD. They're throwing up their hands and they're saying, we're done with it. We're no longer going to carry penicillin. We're no longer going to carry LA200. We're not carrying any of it because we just don't have the time or the money to spend in order to track this appropriately so we don't get dinged by the federal government. What do we have right now? We have a shortage of penicillin in this country. Also, the other thing that you have to consider is all of these manufacturers, every manufacturer that is making bottles of penicillin, LA200, and everything else, as soon as this kicks off in June of 2023, they have to have all new labeling on their bottles that says this is prescription only. You have to have a prescription from a veterinarian. So this creates two problems. One, they have to retool their labels. They have to retool their lines in the manufacturing process, and they have to get all this spun up in time. The other thing is you have to have all of the existing bottles out of production because in June of 2023, you'll no longer be allowed legally to have a bottle of your product on a shelf that doesn't have that particular label on it. Mind you, that Tractor Supply, Rural King, and all these other big box stores, they don't want to have a surplus on their shelves come next year of a product that they can't sell. So you can imagine how much money are you willing to spend on a product to stockpile that you will no longer be able to sell 1 year from now. It just makes sense. So what you're going to see, what they want you to believe is, oh, this is going to be fine and dandy and peachy keen up until June 11th of 2023, and you got nothing to worry about. And the reality is that is a load of BS, because you are going to see these medications go away long beforehand. And while some of you watching this video may not think that this is a big deal or this may not affect you directly, it will in one of two ways. For those of you that don't have a relationship with a veterinarian, you need to get one right now. You need to find a veterinarian in your area or somewhere that will write you a prescription for these antibiotics that you most definitely are going to need to maintain your overall flock health, and you need to get on board with them right now. Now, do you think a veterinarian is going to write you all of these prescriptions for free? Absolutely not. You will get charged, and it may be a nominal fee, but for most of the individuals in our area, I know if they get a VFD for food, they're paying about 12 bucks a pop for that. That's what they're getting billed. So the other thing is this, for those of you that know about supply and demand from economics, well, riddle me this. What happens when you have a huge amount of supply out there? Well, there's not as much demand and the prices stay fairly low. Right now, or let's go back in time a year ago, you could go into any store and pick up penicillin. Well, guess what? The supply is going to get significantly less because these people that have been buying huge amounts of these antibiotics over the years are now going to stop. So what you're going to find is the only place you're going to be able to get this stuff is going to be at your vet's office. There's going to be less in supply, there's going to be higher demand, and they are going to be able to charge you higher prices. Guaranteed, you will be paying higher prices. So the FDA has said, oh, hey, everybody, we don't want to create any turmoil. We don't want to get everybody spun up. We don't want people hoarding this stuff. You don't need to go out and buy this stuff right now. Just everybody calm down. My other beef is this. For those of you in the industry that run newspapers, magazines, videos, all those things, I'm going to give you a pass right now because some of you didn't know about this because they've done a really good job of hiding this from you. But you need to get out there and you need to educate your consumer. So that's going to all of you that run magazines, online forums, things like that. You need to educate your people. That's what they're paying you money for. They're paying you money not to tell them the 10 best tips on how to fertilize your freaking flower garden. They want you to tell them what's going on in the industry and how you're going to save them from having to pay money out the nose that they don't need to spend. Tell your mom, tell your sister, tell your friends, tell your dog, tell your cat, call your buddy, forward this video to them so they can see what's going on and make sure that everybody's prepared for what's coming, because it's going to be a crap show. Right now, as of like a week ago, you can't find penicillin anymore. I dare you to go online and try to find somewhere that has penicillin, because guess what? It's not out there. We're in the middle of lambing season and kidding season. Nobody can find antibiotics because they're not available, and nobody even knew this was coming. So again, this is very, very important. Please don't take this out on your veterinarian. Please don't take this out on your local feed store or your supplier. It is not their fault. This is coming directly from the government. This is a government issue. If you have an issue with this, I highly suggest that you reach out to your elected officials. We have Farm Bureau representatives that can lobby on our behalf. Pick up the phone, make a call, because I'm telling you, it started with the feed, now it's with the injectables. It started to keep it out of the food system, now it's to keep it out of animals, period. The next thing you know, you're not gonna be able to buy anything else. You're not, in a couple years, mark my words, you won't even be able to buy vitamins for your animals, and they're gonna take that away from you as well. I'm Tim from Linessa Farms, specialty in heirloom livestock. Thanks for joining me again today, and I look forward to seeing you again next time.